Hey guys, Legendaray here, and as you probably know, we have just been hit with a pretty game-changing set of balance changes, the February balance. Some of the changes include nerfs to 3 Musketeers and Freeze, as well as buffs to cards such as Knight and Cannon Cart. Now, obviously one of the most meta archetypes, 3 Musketeers, took a pretty massive hit in this set of balances. This has the possibility to completely warp the meta. So, did your favorite cards get nerfed? Well, look no further, because today we're going to be going over 5 decks that have shown to be completely dominant in this new meta. I tried to find some quite widely differing decks, so hopefully you can find one that just fits your style. So, without further ado, let's get right into the decks. Number 1. Pekka Bridgespam. The tried and true Pekka Bridgespam, of course, still retains its spot as one of the best decks to run in this meta. As you know, with this deck, you want to play it as a control deck, meaning you want to play quite passively and wait for your opponent to make the first move. Then, utilize your towers to play smart defense and create an elixir advantage through positive elixir trades. Finally, use that to counter push and dominate. However, if your opponent does make a big commitment in the back, don't be afraid to pressure the opposite lane. This can either force out a response from your opponent or can get you some massive damage onto the tower for a quick, nice push. Number 2. New Meta Graveyard. With the 3 Musketeers finally somewhat out of this meta, you really don't have to worry about those pesky muskets anymore. What does this mean? Graveyard time! Now again, this deck comes with a huge amount of variants, but as usual, most of them have similar game plans. So, with this deck, you obviously want to get a tank for that graveyard to do massive damage onto a tower. The Musketeer, with its newly buffed damage, is actually so good on defense, and we're actually beginning to see the Musketeer make a comeback in this meta. So, it's important to protect her. Make sure that she stays alive as much as possible to maximize her power on defense. Graveyard is another counter-pushing deck, so be sure to use all of your stalling units, such as Tombstone, Guards, and Ice Golem to defend a push, and then counter-push. Number 3. Mortar Bait. The Cannon Cart nerf was the nerf Mortar? Now it's being used in Mortar, baby. This new variation has been tearing it up in challenges the past few days. Obviously, the versions with Prince and Rascals all work equally well, so this is a quick guide to all of those variants. With this deck, you want to utilize your dual win conditions, Siege and Bait, to their full potential. Mortar can offer a ton of offensive and defensive value when you're utilizing its quick cycle to cycle to that Mortar over and over again. In addition, the bait aspect can sometimes just completely overwhelm your opponents. While it is better to play more passively with this deck, don't be afraid to, plop something small at the bridge just to help cycle your deck and also to get chip damage onto the tower. Number 4. Musketeer Bridgespam. This one's actually quite a newer deck specific to this meta. It's like a Bridge Spam deck that looks like a 3 Musketeer deck, but actually only has the single Musketeer. So you want to play this deck, obviously, like a Bridge Spam deck, keeping the pressure up constantly through the game by making quick pushes at the bridge to your opponent's tower in order to keep them low on elixir. In addition, when they do make a commitment in the back, be sure to rush opposite lane. Pump also serves as a bit of fireball bait and can also be quite deadly if ignored. Musketeer and Hunter will take the bulk of your defense as they are both super solid. Again, similar to that graveyard deck I said earlier, you want to protect that Musketeer as long as possible because it's going to get some insane value on defense. Number 5. Royal Giant. Royal Giant is starting to also make somewhat of a slight increase in popularity over the last few days. I believe this is due to a decrease in the popularity of freeze decks, as Royal Giant Lightning is actually quite weak to the freeze spell. Now, with this deck, you want to always try and get at least 1 furnace in the middle of the arena and use all of those units you have to defend pushes. Then, counter push with the Royal Giant. Alternatively, you can place that Royal Giant in the back and create a monster push, similar to a beatdown deck. But, of course, that does leave you somewhat weak in the opposite lane, so you do have to be ready for that. Lightning is also a spell that is quite unexpected in this meta, but it actually does so well, with so many medium hit point units running all over. But make sure you do play your Lightning smart. It is a 6 elixir card after all. So, there we go. 5 decks that do absolutely wonders in this crazy and evolving new meta. I'm confident that each of these decks will do quite well in the upcoming global tournament, and I really hope that you find at least one deck that you find interesting among them. I mean, come on, give at least one deck a try, and I'm sure you'll have tons of fun with it. Of course, however, be sure to practice the decks as well. A good deck will only take you so far. It's about learning the interactions, the card rotations, and the game plan that sets you apart from the average player. Best of luck in the arena to you all, but unfortunately guys, that's all I've got time for in today's video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like down below as well as a subscription to my channel. And as always, this is Legendaray, and I'm signing off. See you guys next time.